If this is not the thumbnail, then I don't know what is. That thing is not driving forward. Is this thing on? Welcome back. It's been 2 months since I filmed something, so I'm a little rusty. I'm also feeling under the weather, so apologies ahead of time if I might not bring my same energy as always. In this video, we're gonna be doing the rear crankshaft seal or rear main seal on my dad's 2011 Ford F250 6.7 liter diesel Power Stroke. So this does require a transmission out job. This is my first transmission out job that I'll attempt to do. We're also going to be doing the upper main seal, the crankshaft position sensor, the upper oil pan, the lower oil pan, a couple of hoses, a couple of gaskets. I'm curious to see whether we can do this with a slanted driveway. So if the transmission starts rolling down, call help, but stick around. Let's see if we can do it. Let me give you a quick walk around of what we've already done. Put it on jack stands, took the wheel off. You can see that there's fresh oil in there and just tons of oil leaking down. Put the truck into neutral before we're taking the battery off. That way it'll give us the ability to spin the drive shaft and unscrew the bolts. Say hi to my dad. Hey. Dad, what's up? So we're gonna go ahead and disconnect the battery. There's 2 on this truck. Since we're gonna be taking off the starter, it's probably a good idea for us to do this. Battery number 1 here, battery number 2 over here. Thunder liner's coming out. Get that out of the way. That's cool. Make sure he's safe. So our first step is to drain the oil and remove the oil filter. That way we can remove the oil filter adapter. All right, engine oil filter out. Next, we're draining the transmission oil. Typically, I do the wrenching, but my dad took the initiative on this one, and hey, I'm happy to be cameraman. All right, next we're removing the rear drive shaft, 4 bolts on there. And we're just gonna mark it, so that way we put it in the same direction. You got it, Dad? Got a little bench press going? Beautiful. All right, we're just gonna take our dinosaur juice out of the way. This reminds me of Dune when the guy was in that bath. So the next thing we're doing is the oil filter adapter. We already disconnected the little connector. And there's 5 8-bolt stud. And then there's 1 10 nut. And just like that, the oil filter adapter housing is coming out. Okay, next we're gonna remove the starter. And just like that, the starter is coming out. We're gonna pull it from the bottom. This is what the starter looks like. It's got a little motor, and then it kickstarts the engine whenever you turn it on. So the wheel comes out, pretty big boy. Everything on the truck is 10 times bigger than a regular car. Makes it a little bit more difficult to work on because everything's heavier. Next, we're gonna remove the bolts on the torque converter. I'm gonna spin the engine by hand. Hop. I get used to this. All right, 8 bolts from the torque converter are out. All right, next up is the front drive shaft. I did 2% of the work, Dad did 98. Teamwork makes the dream work, Dad. We went ahead and disconnected the electrical connection to the transmission. Okay. At the moment, we're getting the dipstick out. All right, we're back. Day 2. We did not end up working Sunday. Me and Dad both felt under the weather. As you can see, it's Monday, and we're burning the midnight oil, aka 6:05 p.m. I'll try to get as much footage as possible. I'm gonna test the camera out with the low lighting setting, and hopefully you actually can see something. Gather around as I tell the story of the man that once lived in a place far, far away. That's creepy. We're gonna get our transmission jack. My dad wants to try to take it off with the transfer case. All right, moment of truth. Oh, there we go.
The torque converter.
Yeah, so we good? We're good to lower it down? The transmission harness out the way so it doesn't get ripped off. It's gonna be a lot of fun putting it back. That's the torque converter that we're replacing, and that's where the rear main seal is, or the crankshaft seal is back there, so we're gonna have to take the flywheel bolts off. Torque converter's out. We are fully covered with oil. Dad, you having fun?
Yep.
Oh man, it's a big boy. Okay, so we were able to pull the transmission out from underneath the car. Still not able to get the transfer case off. This is the inside of the transmission bell house, I guess. We ordered the new seal. Dad picked it up today for inside of here. So we'll figure out how to replace that. This is the torque converter. It kind of looks like a donut and there's a bunch of oil in there. So when we put the new torque converter in, we'll have to fill it up with oil. Now we're ready to move on to removing the flywheel. And it is a 12-point 18mm socket. Hey, I learned something new today. This is called a flex plate for the automatic transmission. The ones that come on a manual transmission are called flywheel. Don't ask me the difference between those two. If you know the difference without Googling it, leave it in the comments. We also did buy a new flex plate because I don't know if you can see that, but these little teeth right here are starting to get worn away, and it's a good idea to replace it because it'll start slipping. So that's what we're gonna do. All right, the 11th and final bolt is out. There we go. Everything looks good. I don't see any damage to the splines. This is just gonna make it easier for us to put the transmission back in because it's such a big piece. Now you can see our seal. Pretty clear to see that it's leaking from the bottom right there. Next, we're going to remove this crankshaft position sensor so that way we can pull the seal out. As you can see, it's sticking out slightly. All right, we're finally out. We got a new one. Next, we're going to take out these little bolts. We're going to remove the back plate on this in order to get the seal back here. We're going to remove the lower oil pan, the upper oil pan, and then hopefully that comes out. So we're going to remove the oil cooler. The coolant is going to come out. That coolant is slimy. Is coolant slimy, Dad?
Yes.
I don't know if I ever had coolant get on me before. It's more oily than oil. Next, we're removing the lower oil pan. All sorts of fluids are going everywhere. Oh, lights, camera, action. Dad, that was the cutest okay I've ever heard in my life. I'll be back, Dad. Don't have all the fun while I'm gone. All right, so we made some progress. It's Saturday. It's a beautiful day outside. We've been working on it consistently throughout the week, but now we can actually get to spend some serious hours working on it. But I was able to successfully take out the oil cooler, and there was a nut on the back. I don't know if you can see that from back here, which was preventing it from coming off. One more bolt in the upper oil pan that is hard to get. And I don't know if I've said this enough, but this is a very messy job. All right, what are we looking at, Dad?
So cleaning up everything right here. Nice.
Yep. So this is the back of the engine. Where's the seal, Dad? Right here. This is the seal. The seal starts breaking off. It means that it's time for it to be replaced. The good rubber is like malleable and it's flexible. Bad one is stiff. It breaks. It rips.
Yep.
All right, so we got to clean everything up and then reinstall the new gaskets and put everything back, Dad. Easy as that.
Yep.
All right, this is the new gasket. We got rear main seal and then rear crankshaft retainer. So that's the correct name. So let's go reinstall them. Lesson learned. We have to put this seal after we reinstall this. We were trying to take a shortcut, and as you can see, we damaged this. So we're going to order a new one of these. I'm going to put this in place. We have a new gasket here, and then that'll be the right way to do it. Then we're just going to take a little razor to get this little edge right here off. That way the new gasket will sit nice and flush. Our new seal's going in. Looking good to me. New hose going in for the oil cooler. We have our torque wrench set up, ready to go. And now we're gonna actually use the silicone. We did find some silicone on the corners, so what we're going to do is just add a little bit of silicone. All right, so we're gonna have to get an interesting thumbnail. Let's see if I can figure something out. This thing is heavy. If I can't pick this up, I'll pick the torque converter up. Oh, oh, it's leaking oil everywhere. I just got oil everywhere just for the thumbnail. That was an absolute disaster. All right, let's try that torque converter. Look like I peed my pants. Why is this so heavy? If this is not the thumbnail, then I don't know what is. That was way too much effort for a thumbnail. Lightweight, baby. Ronnie Coleman. The fun is over. Let's get back to work. Let's go see what he's looking at. This is the transmission oil filter. Look at all that. That's all the solenoids right there. And yeah, it looks really clean, Dad. This is really cool. Automatic transmissions scare me because there's so many moving parts. This is the gasket we're going to remove and then clean the mating surface. And then we're going to reinstall the new one. Remove this. I missed the part where my dad takes it off, but it's filled with oil, which no surprise. Like I said, I think we've spilled more oil than BP in Gulf of Mexico, but we're trying our best. You know, this is driveway shenanigans. Little lube on the seal. Line it up and then push it in. Yeah, there you go. That's sitting flush, Dad. Father, there you go. Oh yeah, we gotta clean it first, but we're gonna clean up the mating surface and we're gonna gently hammer it in. We're gonna pre-fill the torque converter with about a quart, maybe a little bit more. We're gonna reinstall it. That clean red fluid. So you need to spin it so that way it locks into place and we don't damage it. There we go, yeah. Okay. The seal's fully seated, as you can see. There's no damage. Looks pretty good. Then we're gonna put this back plate on. That's perfect. Yeah. And then we're gonna put the crankshaft position sensor, the new one in. Now we're just gonna replace all the O-rings. We got a beautiful new flex plate, not flywheel, from the Ford dealership. So looks very nice and shiny. Dad did notice that this actually is for a 6-bolt, the new one, but as long as you have a matching torque converter, it fits. So when I was ordering these, I gave the VIN number to the Ford dealership, and so they gave me the 6-bolt one. The old one is an 8-bolt, and the old torque converter is also an 8-bolt. But based on kind of reading on it, as long as you replace them together, they're, you know, the 6-bolt might be an upgrade in a different material. I don't know if that's true or not, but we're gonna go with it. Just something to keep in mind. As you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we have 6 bolts here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Torque it to 74 foot-pounds. Things are going back together and we're ready for the transmission. So we're going to roll it underneath because we can't fit it with the jack on it. And then we'll try to put it on the jack while we're underneath the car. And of course there's more oil leaking. This is like what they did back in like Egyptian days. Yeah. Yep. I have hit my head. I get so many sharp things underneath here. All right, so we want to make sure that these both are in the engine side. There's one that was stuck in the transmission side, so I pulled it out and I'm just gonna hammer it lightly back into place. This will help guide the transmission in when we're reinstalling. Now we're just gonna take our transmission jack and we're going to wedge it underneath the transmission. We're going to continue struggling, continue trying to align the flex plate to the torque converter. But yeah, this is the general process. All right, so big update. We got the transmission in place. The flex plate and the torque converter all seem to be in place. So that's fantastic. What you didn't see is there was a good solid maybe 30 minutes of struggle, and then I started cramping up because I was in this position right here. So yeah, this is a fun job. It's Monday. Is it Monday? I don't remember. Yeah, it is Monday. We've been very fortunate with some really good weather, and Wednesday is supposed to rain all day. After Thursday, like the temperatures drop down to 27 degrees Fahrenheit, which is like -2 degrees or however much in Celsius. This is it, you know, it's crunch time and we really don't have any wiggle room for error. Will we make it? I hope so. A very key moment is we have to put the nuts on the torque converter. If we drop them, we have to take the transmission back out because the nuts are going to end up in the bell house, the transmission bell house. So we definitely don't want to do that. So we have to be very careful. Hello, light. I'm here. We're burning moonlight. I don't know. Definitely not daylight because, you know, it's daylight savings. So, or maybe the end of daylight savings. I don't know. So back here is where the bolts are to the torque converter. I want to put you down and I want to give you an update. All right, that's one. All right, that's two. That's three. Halfway there. Hey, that's number four. Number five. Dad, this is stressful.
The shed we use.
But I said he's afraid to breathe. All right. Little prayer. Sixth and final one. I think we've said several prayers throughout this project, Dad. Oh yeah, Dad, it's on. Woo-wee. Hand tying this up and then we'll torque it down. As you can see, there's not a lot of room here. If you're claustrophobic, this job is not for you. So one thing to note that the crankcase filters, this little guy right here, I was reading in the comments, it's in the engine bay, that it's one of the culprits once it gets clogged of these oil leaks. So my dad actually already replaced it maybe like 20,000 miles ago, and so this is important to consider if you're doing this job and haven't replaced it. We're going to torque these bolts down to 35 foot-pounds, the transmission bell house to the back of the engine. Just like that. Any day now, Dad. Thank you, Dad. Got a little workout in, Dad. I haven't been to the gym in like 2 months. Gonna torque down all the transfer case bolts. Okay, transmission mount is on. Okay, I'm good here. Now we are dropping the transmission jack. All right, we have our official Ford oil for the diesel. We have our oil filter, unofficial, but I think Purelator is better than the OEM filter. This takes almost a full quart. All right, so now we're just gonna hand tighten it and we're good to go. Now we're gonna reinstall the lower oil pan. All right, 89 inch-pounds. All right, next we're gonna replace the air filter. All right, pull any little debris out here from the inside. I learned something new today. This little green red thing is actually an indicator for a dirty air filter. You press the button to reset it. We have a couple of things left, and then we're going to put all the new fluids in, and then we'll be able to start it up. All right, so Dad just drained transfer case oil, and as you can see, it is very dark. It does do a lot of towing. So for the transfer case, there's a drain plug at the bottom and a fill plug at the top. And once it starts flowing out of the fill plug, you know you're done. Okay, so today is the day that we find out whether we put the transmission and we did all the seals correctly. My dad stayed up till like 1 a.m. the other night to try to wrap some stuff up. He filled up the transmission, and so we have coolant left. We have the connectors for the electric pump For the fuel filter, we have that from the Ford dealership because we broke 2 of them. That's it. Let's find out. It is super cold outside, and to be honest, I don't even want to be here right now. But you know, as projects go, it's been 2 weeks since we started it. So let's get to it because we gotta move to stay warm. So apparently these are the replacements for the blue ones that we broke. And the Ford's parts guy said this is the replacement. So if you're colorblind, then I guess it doesn't really matter. So this is what we broke. Also, apparently diesel fuel doesn't really come out. I washed my clothes and I still have a strong odor of diesel.
Yep.
Dad, tell them to subscribe.
Subscribe.
You heard it from my dad. So Ford really said, go big or go home. This is a 32 millimeter wrench for a fuel filter. Like, that's ridiculous. That's good, Dad. Do we want to replace the other fuel filter? So there's a secondary fuel filter location. This is like a full canister replacement. I don't know the differences between the two. Don't ask me. I've never really worked on diesel trucks before. We're getting better at these little. So this one, you have to press from the bottom and then it'll come out. This one, there's a button on the side and you just push on the sides in. So I don't understand why they change up the different connectors and stuff, but maybe for people like us not to mess around with them. But hey, we're learning. Out with the old, in with the new. Engine oil's already in. Transmission's oil's already in. Yeah. All right. Dad's gonna do coolant. We don't have to like special bleed this, right? You just turn it on, fill it up, turn it on, and the bubbles will come out. We didn't get enough coolant, thanks to the Ford dealership guy. If you work in the parts department, I feel like you should have the same training as the mechanics. Well, now we're coming over here. Yeah, the system is priming, the fuel is getting pumped. So what we're doing is just gonna let it idle for a little bit. Moment of truth. Is the battery? Oh, the beast awakens. Got any check engine lights? That thing is not driving forward. All right, so it's not working. Maybe it's the torque converter that we didn't put in right, but it just feels like it's in neutral. All right, so no check engine light or anything, but when Dad puts it into drive, it goes into 5th gear. I don't know if you can see that. If you put it into manual, it'll just go into M1, or actually it won't go into anything. And unfortunately it didn't work, so we'll have to figure out what's next. So it turned out to be a simple fix. We were low on transmission oil, so all we had to do was top it off, and there's a safety feature that prevented the truck from going into gears and damaging itself. So that was really awesome of Ford to do. And I'm glad we didn't damage anything. And my dad took the truck to work today, and it runs perfect. It runs smooth. And so hopefully there's no oil leaks, right, Dad? No oil leaks. So the way you want to check the transmission oil level is you want to have the truck on level ground. That's why we lifted the rear up. And then you want to have it on in operating temperature, and you want to have the truck running. And that's when you go and check the dipstick. When you do a standard transmission drain and refill, it's like 10 or 12 quarts. When you fill the transmission up from zero, from dry, it's like 18 quarts. We filled it up somewhere between 12 and 18. I don't know, my dad did that. Oh, reverse work. Safe to say that the truck is working nicely. If you like the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We got other videos coming in the near future, and I'll see you in the next one.